The time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The business news headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Fiscal demands, creative financing, and a fintech breakthrough. Good evening, and welcome to CBX Business News for Friday, August 29, 2025. I am Rochelle Moncrief. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's fiscal demands largely unanswered as leadership debate centered on integrity. On the regional front, the Caribbean Development Bank rolls out a new financing plan to power growth in the region's creative industries. And over on the global stage, Egyptian fintech startup Munify raises $3 million, aiming to disrupt remittances after joining Y Combinator. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
CBX puts the big questions to those who want to lead. How will the next government grow Jamaica's economy? Government and opposition. Same questions, different answers. This is Business at the Ballot, the corporate mandate. Because Jamaica's business is Jamaica's future. Don't miss it.
Me grew up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
Exactly. Okay. Your grandmother's house never burned down?
No, how you reached that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
Alright, because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit or per financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Welcome back. In international news, the U.S. goods trade deficit ballooned in July, raising concerns that trade could weigh heavily on economic growth in the third quarter. According to data from the Commerce Department's Census Bureau, the goods trade gap widened by 22.1% to $103.6 billion last month, well above economists' forecast of $89.45 billion. The sharp increase was driven by a surge in imports, which jumped $18.6 billion to $281.5 billion, while exports slipped marginally by $0.1 billion to $178 billion. The shift comes after import declines in the second quarter helped shrink the trade deficit, adding a record 4.95 percentage points to GDP growth. That boost contributed to the economy expanding at a 3.3% annualized rate in the April-June period, following a 0.5% contraction in the first quarter when businesses pushed to front-load imports ahead of President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. Looking ahead, the Atlanta Federal Reserve estimates that GDP will expand at a slower 2.2% rate in the third quarter, with the widening trade deficit expected to be a key drag on growth. We move now from trade to energy, where another U.S. record was set in June, this time in oil and gas output. U.S. crude oil production surged to a record high in June, underlining the country's position as the world's top energy producer. According to data from the Energy Information Administration's Petroleum Supply Monthly, output climbed by 133,000 barrels per day to 13.58 million BPD, the highest on record. Texas, the leading producer, edged up by 11,000 BPD to 5.72 million BPD, while New Mexico posted a stronger increase of 40,000 BPD to reach 2.24 million BPD, its highest since March. Production in the offshore Gulf of Mexico also rose sharply, adding 67,000 BPD to 1.92 million BPD, the strongest level since October 2023. At the same time, demand showed robust growth. Total products supplied, a key measure of consumption, rose by 684,000 BPD to 21 million BPD, the highest since October 2024. Gasoline demand increased to 9.23 million BPD, the most since July 2024, while jet fuel demand climbed to 1.85 million BPD, its highest level since August 2018. Natural gas output also set a new record. Gross production from the lower 48 states rose to 120.7 billion cubic feet per day, surpassing the previous high of 120.5 BCFD set in March. Texas production grew to 36.8 BCFD, while Pennsylvania output rose to 21.5 BCFD, further strengthening America's energy supply position. The record levels of oil and gas production come at a time of rising energy demand, highlighting the sector's role in supporting both domestic consumption and global supply. While the U.S. energy sector is booming, north of the border, Canada is feeling the strain of trade tensions. Canada's economy contracted more than expected in the second quarter, as U.S. tariffs under President Donald Trump dealt a blow to the country's key export sectors. Official figures from Statistics Canada show GDP shrank at an annualized rate of 1.6%, well below expectations for a 0.6% decline. The weak performance followed a 2% contraction in the first quarter, underscoring the drag from trade tensions with Washington. Exports tumbled 7.5% in the second quarter, with international shipments of passenger cars and light trucks plunging nearly 25%. Economists point to the auto, steel, and aluminum industries as the hardest hit. While consumer spending proved more resilient, business investment fell and trade-exposed sectors weakened significantly. Analysts cautioned that the numbers are subject to revision, but said the current trajectory highlights the scale of the challenge. In response, Prime Minister Mark Carney has dropped retaliatory measures in a bid to ease tensions with the U.S., while pledging to diversify Canada's economy away from over-reliance on its southern neighbor. Away from tariffs and contraction, there's a fintech story gaining traction out of the Middle East. Egyptian fintech startup is aiming to reshape the $30 billion remittance market after securing backing from Y Combinator, a regional investors. Munify, a cross-border neobank founded by former Microsoft and Uber engineer Khalid Ashmawi, raised $3 million in seed funding from Y Combinator's Summer 2025 batch alongside BYLD and DCG. The platform is designed to give Egyptians abroad a faster, cheaper way to send money home, while offering residents and businesses in the Middle East access to U.S. banking. The neobank launched 2 weeks ago and has already attracted thousands of signups. Unlike traditional services such as Western Union and MoneyGram, Munify is building its own banking rails to directly connect systems across countries, enabling near-instant transfers at competitive rates. On the business side, Munify has signed contracts with mid-sized companies and enterprises representing a projected $50 million in monthly cross-border volume. Its dual model caters to both consumers, remittance users, and freelancers, and businesses through APIs that facilitate international payments. Revenue is generated from FX spreads, interchange, and payment flows. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
It's feeling so good right now. Let's all get fit. This summer's a drip. Hip dips and split. Power in the mind, let's get healthy with it. Sometimes your body's so hard, but your body wants it. And then your head is so home, and it's so like this. So we gotta go 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. One more now. 1, 2, 3. One more now. 1, 2, 3, go.
If it were not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today.
FESCO started from 5 shareholders who believed that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational.
Caribbean flavors and fragrances. I have seen that our company has expanded tremendously after being listed.
Our experience so far has translated into additional customers.
Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency.
Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates.
We have expanded in terms of our customer base, in terms of our suppliers.
All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market.
You may have fears in listing on the main market or the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Whatever those fears are, we can help you to allay them. Give us a call today. Our friendly professional staff will help you through the process. Let us have that conversation. Give us that call.
Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
Make that call now.
You will be glad you did.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, has announced a new financing and investment package aimed at reducing reliance on one-off grants and placing the region's creative industries on a more sustainable footing. CDB President Daniel Best made the announcement during the Big Conversations panel at CariFesta 15, hosted at the Hilton Barbados Resort under the theme Beyond the Grant, Financing Futures in the Creative Economy.
Our board approved a recapitalization of SIF, which will take us to 2027. Yeah? I feel that's where you should actually clap for, to be honest with you. So our board has approved a recapitalization of SIF. But now, we're trying to move past the grants because that's important. And so we are looking at blended financing instruments.
The CDB president says the bank's board has also approved its first trade finance guarantee program.
And I am very pleased to report that in June of this year, at our annual board meeting in Brasilia, our board approved the first trade finance guarantee program that the bank has ever done, supporting de-risking investments such that commercial lenders, their investments into MSMEs who are involved in trade, have an easier path to move their goods intra-regionally and internationally.
He added that the bank will also launch an MSME partial credit guarantee scheme with a specific focus on the creative sector.
At the beginning of next year, we will be launching an MSME, particular focus on MSME partial credit guarantee scheme, again, to de-risk investment into MSMEs, such that the threshold through which MSMEs, and I'm speaking specifically here about the creatives, the threshold which they have to overcome to actually get their goods, their services across this region, across the world, becomes a little bit easier.
CDB President Daniel Best. Martinique recorded strong growth in cruise arrivals this season. Passenger traffic rose nearly 11% to more than 465,000, up from 421,000 last year. Over 200 ship calls were logged, according to the Martinique Tourism Authority. The French Caribbean island is now one of the region's fastest growing cruise hubs. The momentum is set to continue, with MSC Cruises announcing a return to year-round operations in 2027. These numbers represent more than growth. They show how Martinique is becoming a must-visit destination, says Director of the Americas for the Tourism Authority, Muriel Wiltord. MSC Opera will home port in Port-de-France in both the winter 2026-27 and the summer 2027 seasons. This will be the first summer home porting in recent years. The move is expected to drive year-round tourism and deliver a major economic boost. This season, ships from more than 30 cruise lines will call at Martinique's 8 active ports. Vessels range from boutique ships to mega liners, spanning premium to ultra-luxury classes. In other news, the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, TTSE, has announced the official listing of A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings Limited, Brydens, marking a historic milestone for the company and the local capital market. The listing, effective today, Friday, August 29, comprises 1.5 billion ordinary shares under the symbol ASBH on the first-tier market, priced at TT $1.15 per share, along with 30 million Class A preference shares under the symbol ASBH 6.00 on the USD equity market, priced at US 97 cents per share. Notably, Bryden's entry was completed by way of introduction, meaning no new capital was raised in this transaction. Instead, the listing provides trading access to more than 800 existing shareholders while opening new opportunities for fresh investors. Republic Wealth Management Limited served as the broker for the listing, ensuring the process was conducted with transparency and sound governance. TTSE CEO Eva Mitchell described the development as a demonstration of the exchange's ability to support companies across all stages of growth. She emphasized that Bryden's listing underscores the resilience of the local market and its readiness to attract both established enterprises and emerging firms. Staying with news from the TTSE, overall market activity resulted from trading in 21 securities, of which 4 advanced, 6 declined, and 11 traded firm. Today's winners are Guardian Media, MedCorp, Unilever Caribbean, and Trinidad Cement, while leading the losers are the West Indian Tobacco Company, National Flour Mills, Republic Financial Holdings, and Guardian Holdings. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 2.60 points to close at 1,439.50. The Composite Index declined by 1.35 points to close at 1,000.19. The cross-listed index remained at 74.23. The SME index advanced by 0.70 points to close at 97.10. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Hello everyone, I'm Kiran Maharaj of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and I just want to wish CBX a very happy anniversary. Thank you CBX for keeping us informed, and may you continue to grow globally, making strides everywhere. Best wishes.
We begin with the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's demand for fiscal clarity on Jamaica's economic future. The Jamaica Chamber of Commerce's call for fiscal clarity remains unanswered after last night's general election leadership debate between Prime Minister Andrew Holness and opposition leader Mark Golding. Critical questions on tax cuts and spending were left unanswered as the debate was dominated by exchanges over corruption and personal integrity. In a statement issued ahead of the debate, the JCC urged both parties to explain how manifesto commitments, including tax relief and new expenditure, would be financed without endangering Jamaica's hard-won fiscal stability. The Chamber also demanded answers on why the economy is projected to grow by only 1% and pressed for strategies to accelerate growth, improve competitiveness, and support long-term sustainable development. During the debate, Holness defended his record of transparency, insisting that every aspect of my personal life is in the public domain. Golding countered with criticisms of government scandals, gaps in statutory declarations, and lingering questions over unresolved financial sector issues. However, neither leader provided specifics on the economic concerns raised by the business community. No details were offered on which spending would be cut or deferred to fund tax measures, nor was there clarity on which commitments would be prioritized in the first budget cycle. Small businesses are at the heart of the opposition People's National Party's economic pitch, with party president Mark Golding pledging a 3-year tax holiday for newly incorporated firms if the PNP wins the next general election. Adding his voice to the leadership debate staged by Jamaica's Debate Commission on Thursday, Golding says the initiative is designed to encourage entrepreneurship, reduce startup costs, and formalize more businesses within the Jamaican economy.
There's a third schedule to the GCT Act now, which has a long list of items which are not subject to GCT that are exempt. We feel that laptops and other devices are critical tools of trade, and it is wrong to tax them, and we are going to add them to that list. And similarly, sports equipment, which is vital for social cohesion. Sports is a critical part of keeping young people away from straying down the wrong path and so on. Why are we taxing those items? That cost of living is already high. So I don't agree. The system we have already caters for items which should not be taxed. And we're simply saying we want to adjust those items to include things that should be there but are not yet there.
Opposition leader and PNP President Mark Golding. But Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, who also serves as leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, countered sharply, pointing to his government's record of cutting the GCT rate while safeguarding revenues.
The Jamaica Labour Party is the only political organization to have reduced taxes. We reduced the GCT from 16.5% to 15%. And we have done so in a way that has not compromised our revenues or the sustainability of future programs. All, and I repeat, all the tax suggestions and promises of the opposition will compromise our fiscal arrangements and place us back in debt or result in increased taxes. The best way to provide social services is to identify the persons who need it.
Thank you, Dr.
Prime Minister and JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness. We go now to a new development in the SportsMax Digicel saga. Following Digicel's divestment of SportsMax earlier this month, questions swirled about the future of one of the region's most iconic studios. That question has now been answered, and in a bold way. Amber Group has stepped in, acquiring the facility and launching Revo TV, a groundbreaking 24/7 digital channel powered by artificial intelligence. A press release today says Revo TV, paired with its online platform Revo News AI, promises to redefine media by merging AI with live journalism. The platform will let audiences interact directly with news in real time, search archives instantly, and even chat with other readers. Amber Group's CEO, Ambassador Dushant Savadia, described it as a reinvention of how people experience news and entertainment. The move, backed by a strategic partnership with nationwide 90 FM and support from Digicel, signals a bold step for both Jamaica's creative economy and regional broadcast innovation. In other news, Jamaica's producer prices advanced in July, powered by a strong rebound in the mining sector. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin reported that the Producer Price Index PPI for mining and quarrying rose 15.5%, driven almost entirely by a 16.4% jump in bauxite mining and alumina processing. Other mining and quarrying posted a marginal 0.1% increase. The manufacturing industry also moved higher, up 1.1%. The main contributors were food, beverages, and tobacco, up 0.3%. Refined petroleum products up 4.5%, and chemicals and chemical products up 1.5%. Despite the monthly gains, mining prices remain under pressure over the longer term. Between July 2024 and July 2025, the mining and quarrying index fell 6.3%, reflecting a 7.2% decline in alumina-related prices. Manufacturing, by contrast, showed modest resilience, rising 1.2% year-on-year, supported by food processing, but tempered by an 8.6% drop in petroleum products. Statin noted that the figures were calculated using the previous month's exchange rate, reflecting typical purchasing cycles for raw materials. And now for news from the Bank of Jamaica on how the currency markets traded today. In a sharp contrast to yesterday's trading, the Jamaican dollar lost against all its counterparts today. At the end of currency trading on Friday,
we now break regular transmission for a live broadcast from the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
CBX puts the big questions to those who want to lead. How will the next government grow Jamaica's economy? Government and opposition.